All right, little shop update this morning. I'm getting ready to go in the house. It's about 8:30 now. I've been up and moving since about 3 this morning. So it's been so hot here that's what we're doing. Today it's only supposed to get to, I think, 108. And that's pretty unreasonably warm for us. I think we had about 115 yesterday. And talking to some of the guys that I know, I don't remember in about the last 30 years anything over than about 105, 107 is normally what we've got. So it's been awful hot. So, the last year or two I've been occasionally telling people to stay safe. Well, now it's just stay cool type of thing. So the shop, if I open it up, run the fan on through first thing in the morning, and it'll stay tolerable, but it's already hotter than it is outside. If I close everything up and run the air conditioner, why, it's okay to work in here, but it's not pleasant. So I'm doing a few things in the morning and going and sitting in front of the computer and working on video stuff and some CAD and CAM stuff and website stuff. So I just figured I'd give you a quick little update. One of the current projects this is a 3D printed pattern, and I've already got some or a 3D printed model, I guess. I've already got some patterns printed up to go on a match plate. This is going to be a carriage stop for on the little Atlas lathe, and this is my rendition of what is close to the factory Atlas one. We're seeing those back on the auction sites for, I think there's one now for $165 or normally 125 or something. My intent is to put together a little kit and offer these at a fair savings, another good little skill builder for any shop. And I think it's a good little useful project. So I think it'll be pretty close to the original. Now this is just the original model. The cast patterns they've got radiused edges and all the nice little things. I think it's going to be a nice little setup. So first stages of that will keep you informed as to what's going on there. If somebody has one of these, I'm looking for the thread pitch. I believe it's a 3/8 diameter, but I don't know what the thread pitch is on those, and I haven't taken the time to research it. So if somebody knows what the thread pitch and then how many divisions they're putting on the knurled wheel, I'd appreciate it if somebody let me know. Leave them in the comments below. Shoot me an email, whatever works for you. So that's going on. The last little tool holder I've been working on while I cut the top plate. I was short one top plate. I'd messed up a top plate, I guess is what it was. So yesterday I cut one more. Next time I've got the index head set up, we'll go ahead, radius the outside and bore it and do all that good stuff. So those are getting closer to being done. One of the little projects that's coming up, and we'll do a complete video series on it because I think it can be built really cheap, really inexpensively. I won't say cheap, it can be built really inexpensively for your lathe, the shaper, or I'm not sure if we have any on the milling machine or not, but the way wipers. And this is off the shaper, and we're going to do a video on building these, but I think they can be built pretty inexpensively, and we'll get to that real quickly. I'm doing a setup. I'm doing some prototyping on them now, and doing the setup for a little production run of these, so we can produce these and put them out there. I think pretty cheap. So that is going on. Casting patterns. Lots of casting stuff going on here. And I shot some video yesterday, and I may put part of it in there. I've been working on the Steve Chastain sand muller a little bit. I got the main spindle bearing carriers mounted in the tub, which wasn't a major deal. I did have to do a little fitting on one of them, but that wasn't a major deal. I've had those cast, already have the races put in the carriers, or the bearing housings, whatever you want to call them. And I went ahead and permanently installed them into the muller body itself. So that's going on. I was already out this morning, went down to my little metal supplier to see if I could find in the scrap pile a 4-inch diameter round stock or a piece of drawn over mandrel tubing. They didn't have anything there this morning, and so we're going to watch for that. I need that for the hub on the top of the main shaft going through. So I'm kind of searching for one of those, but I'll watch them over the next couple of weeks. Something will appear, hopefully. I really don't want to go and spend the amount that they want for a 4-inch piece of 4-inch round stock. So pulley patterns, and I'm modifying these patterns. I think I'd shown these. This is a smaller pulley for the sand muller. I'm going to add a little more hub to this. I've got the larger pulley is cast, but I think I'm going to go back and extend the hub on that a little bit too and cast another one of those. Finished cleaning up the pattern. This is a 3D printed pattern I did for the wheel that runs inside the drum. Two of these will be mounted face to face here, and that forms the body and the bearing housings to support the shaft that runs through for the wheel that rotates inside the muller. So we've got to cast up 2 of those. Next time I cast, I'll cast at least one of them probably. So those are going on. I have been playing with casting flasks a little bit more, and yesterday, when it was still relatively cool, and it's no longer relatively cool, I cut down some scrap 2x4s that I had that have been kicking around forever and weren't really good for anything, and I've got enough for one more casting flask. I've got it cut to length and planed, and everything's trued up to getting ready to cut the dovetails and that, and it makes a nice casting flask. Now, I spend a lot of time on those casting flasks, and a lot of people will say, well, it's not worth doing it, not worth spending the time, but I do so much work with match plates, and I prefer to work off of a match plate rather than loose patterns. You know, I still do a fair amount of loose pattern casting, but I like the match plates. You know, they're quick and easy and idiot proof. If your sand's not perfect, you can still get some good castings out of them. And where they're on a match plate, I want a fairly sturdy flask anyway. So to me, it's worth the time to do that. Now, I have been playing. I originally printed out some of the prints for the cast aluminum flask like Old Foundry Man was doing. And I've got 2 of these here that are about ready, and I just cleaned them up a little bit more. I've got a little more work to do on them, but I haven't moved ahead with these just because I'm not sure the time spent and the amount of these that you have to cast is worth the effort. To me, I'd rather put that into a wooden flask. I see a little more immediate gratification out of there because once I get one done, once I get wood cut and get them dovetailed, they're ready to go together. Where with these, you're going to be, for me anyway, I'm going to be over several casting sessions because you need 4 of each of these is what I'm doing for right now to start with. So you need 8 castings before you've got one set of flasks even ready to go together. So I'm going to start casting them. You know, I think I'll do 1 or 2 of them. I can't imagine doing these on an ongoing basis, but it's worth the experimentation to find out how consistent they are, how good they are, and how well I like them. You know, it may be one that I end up and really do like these flasks, and I build a whole bunch of them, but I'm not sure that I'm a believer yet for the way that I cast. So we'll see. So that's kind of the extent of what's going on. I've been working on the website quite a bit, trying to get things transferred over and figured out. So that's an ongoing process. I do have several other projects coming up that I'm working on. I've got to get my flask done for pouring the 2 halves of the gearbox housing for the sand muller. And there again, I thought about getting out the plasma cutter this morning and going ahead and shortening up my piece of tube and stuff, and I just haven't done it. I do have a chamber going together for some vacuum casting. I've got a little bit of vacuum casting that I need to do. That's what's going on. Hopefully you find it a little bit interesting. Comments, suggestions, leave them in the comment section for me below. And I would like to know the thread pitch and the number of graduations they're putting on the carriage stop for the Atlas lathe, if anybody's got one. I would appreciate that. I'm out here playing with the sand muller today. It's already 100 degrees here and it's supposed to get to like 113, which is unseasonably hot for us here. So anyway, all I'm going to do is a little quickie. I'm putting the bearing carriers in the main spindle, or for the main spindle in the sand muller. I've got my barrier carrings all done. The races were already installed. I've got them for top and bottom in the main spindle, and I'm just going to stick those in. There's 3 set screws that hold them, and I'm going to Loctite them in. This is the last time they're going in, I think. And that's pretty much what I'm doing today. I'm going to go inside and hide here before too long, but I thought you might like to see the progress for the sand muller. So the bearing housings with the races in them, and I've already fitted them up. They're dimpled for the 3 set screws in each one of them, and I've numbered them 1 and 2. For 2 goes on top and 1 goes on the bottom. This is number 1, and this would be number 2, and we're just going to go ahead and knock these down into place. It's way too hot for this foolishness on days like today. And we've got it all aligned, so I'm going to go ahead and we're just going to red Loctite our Allen screws in because they're never coming out again. This is the last assembly of this. Anything else I need to do, I will fit it inside, or I guess if we have to, we'll be heating it up, drilling them out, and replacing some stuff, but I think it's probably just fine. I made sure the little dimples were aligned in here. I originally had longer set screws, but they're too long to, they stick out, so put a little bit shorter one in there. And it'll be there forever. The next thing for the spindle housing is I've got to find a piece of 4-inch round, 4 inches long. So I've got to go down and scrounge through, and I may do that in the heat yet today, because I've got the center shaft material, or the main spindle shaft, but I've got to set it up and drill the end for 1/2-20, and then figure out how I'm going to mount the spindle on the bottom, or the sprocket on the bottom, although that's not going to happen until after I get the upper section of this all fitted. I had gotten a seal that I thought would work for the seal in the top here above this bearing, but it's not. I got a 2-inch inside diameter, and that won't work. There's no way to support it. So what I've got to do is get my 4-inch piece and then turn a shoulder on it to fit down inside a seal, and it's got to sit on the back side of the bearing to preload that, otherwise it'd just be rubbing here on top. So there's the upper housing. The rear housing should set right in here if I can find my index mark. There it is right there. And it should set right in here. Come on now. There we go. This is set up for this is a 30-inch shell, or about a 30-inch shell. I'll be working on the main plow and everything, or plows and everything for up and inside. I've got to get legs underneath it, but I'm not sure exactly how tall I'm going to make it yet. I don't want it really any taller than I have to have it, but it's got to be tall enough to clear all our mounts underneath, our sprockets and all that good stuff. The motor's got to have enough clearance. Yet I want it still low enough to where I can shovel stuff into it. And I want to I'm going to redo the chute down here, but I want it so that I can, I think, roll a wheelbarrow underneath the bottom of it. And, you know, like anything else, if I have to, I can mount it up on some blocks. I can, you know, do something. I will probably put wheels underneath one end of it so that I can move it around like a wheelbarrow, basically. I've got a couple of big never flat tires that I can utilize underneath it. So anyway, this is about all I'm going to get accomplished today. But we got those bearing housings out of the way, and then I need 2 of these. These are the 3D prints for the wheel, and one goes in each side. They meet in the middle. So then we've got our concrete filled wheel in the center of them. One side will have a shaft going through it. There'll have to be a seal here, and I don't believe I've got that seal yet. I haven't figured that out. And the other side will have a hubcap, which is probably one of these full-size hubcaps that'll fit on the outside, just like that, to protect that. So that's where we're at. Hopefully you find it a little bit interesting. If you haven't hit that subscribe button, I'd appreciate it. Comments or suggestions, leave them in the comments section for me below. And as always, thanks for taking the time to watch.